So I'm sitting here in this sort of like kids camping area, which is also the third feed zone for the Traka 200 and one of the last feed zones as well for the Traka 360. So I've been here much less relaxed than I am now, but I'm about to upload the Traka 200, which I've just been sent by Gerard from Classmark. Open this up. Okay, 200 kilometers and 30 meters. 1,877 meters of climbing. So I saved this, Traka 200. We already have the file sent. I go home. Course added, Traka 200. Let's open it up. Distance, ride. Okay, so now we're on the course here. Zoom out. You can see that this is a big course. The mapping is just like the most important thing in a gravel race. Like if you're coming up to a section and there's like 4 roads that are potential turns and you don't have a screen with this sort of like color and detail, you're gonna get lost almost every time. This new 1050 has like saved myself so many times this season. But just to talk you through some of my like pages that I like to use, I always like to know exactly how much ascent I've done in the race. But one of my cool features is that how much climbing is left. So it's like, instead of seeing how much you've done, it's actually nice to know that I only have 350 meters climbing from here. And then we have our climbing page, which actually gives us details about each of the climbs left. So if we see this climb here in 30.35 kilometers, there's a 2.2K climb and it has 71 meters of elevation. But the nice thing as well is we actually get to see the grade of the climb. So I know that it's going to start easy, get harder, and then ease off towards the top. So if I'm suffering at midpoint, I know that it's actually going to get easier. So it actually helps sort of like approach the climb mentally, because I know exactly what to expect. And if I'm suffering, I know if it's about to get easier, it's important to stay on the wheel because it's about to get easy. This is also an interesting page here. It talks about your potential and your stamina. And I've actually found it to be really accurate. So we've done a little bit of work so far today, but my stamina is still 95%. But as I get closer to the end of a race, it actually matches how I'm feeling quite well. So if I can see that my stamina or my potential is actually getting pretty low, I know it's time to actually kind of monitor my effort. But if I'm towards the end and all of the data that comes to here, so a lot of it's to do with your power relationship to heart rate. If that's still bouncing really, really nicely, it's going to show that your potential is still quite good, and that means I can probably start to attack in the race. And then just my normal data page, I always have timer, distance. For me, the most important thing to look at is actually speed, because the main goal of going hard is not necessarily pushing hard, it's about going as fast as you possibly can for the effort. So I think speed is actually the most important thing to have on a computer. Then I also have power, heart rate, and I also like to know how many calories I've burned, because I need to keep eating, and that's a good reminder to keep putting things in your mouth. And this one's distance remaining and power, and then we're back to the map. But there's lots of other cool features on this new Garmin 1050. My favorite one of all is the fact that if someone's in my way on the course and I need to get past them, I can ring a bell, which is quite loud. And then also, what I'm probably going to do on the training days is we can actually set hazards. So if I come across an area where I can see that there's like a big pothole, I can actually enter this directly and I can report the pothole. And now every person who has a Garmin 1050 is going to get the information that around this corner there is a pothole. So they're going to get a little announcement on their Garmin and they're going to know not to hit this hole. And this also has settings that I can put in, like a slippery surface or like a fallen tree or a dangerous animal. So it's just a safety feature, but because everyone in the world with the 1050 is populating this, we actually create a community that looks after each other. So for me, Garmin is not only the best navigation, it's not only the best computer, but it's also keeping me safer.